I am here to tell you about LA Not So Confidential, the forensic psychology and true crime podcast brought to you by me, Dr. Shiloh, and this guy.
Hey, I'm her bestie and co-host, Dr. Scott. She worked in law enforcement and I was a Hollywood casting director. Now we're both forensic psychologists working in Los Angeles.
Twice a month, we bring you a classic or contemporary true crime story. We apply the real psychological concepts behind the story and dish about the media's representations of those cases.
Subscribe now to LA
Not So
Confidential wherever you get your podcasts.
True crime, psychology, and snark.
Trust us, we're doctors.
This episode of LA Meekly brought to you by SmileBrilliant.com and their teeth whitening capabilities. If you're like me, you're a bit overwhelmed by all the teeth whitening products on the market. So Smile Brilliant has provided us with some very interesting facts to pass on to you so that you don't get caught in the traps of other teeth whiteners. Teeth whitening does not whiten your teeth. It just removes the stains and restores your tooth to its natural color.
And don't be afraid of teeth whitening because of fact number 2. Teeth whitening does not damage teeth. It just temporarily dehydrates them.
Tooth sensitivity is the result of tooth dehydration. Don't be afraid.
Caps and veneers cannot be whitened because they do not have pores for the stains to latch onto.
The key to teeth whitening is the delivery device of the whitening. Whitening strips, they neglect the crevices and molars and they slide around on your teeth.
Saliva floods the generic trays because they are bulky and do not create a seal.
And those LED lights, they do nothing. That only works at the dentist with a high output UV light.
I'm never going to buy an LED light again.
I won't even use an LED TV anymore because of it. I'm trying to whiten my teeth on an LED TV. Nothing. The number one whitening device recommended by dentists is the custom fitted tray. You can have your dentist make your trays for $300 to $600, or
I think you can go to SmileBrilliant.com and use their lab direct mail-in process for a fraction of the price you would pay at the dentist.
And if you grind your teeth at night, you can get a Smile Brilliant custom fitted night guard for, once again, a fraction of the price the dentist charges. So that's SmileBrilliant.com. Use coupon code LA Meekly for an exclusive discount. SmileBrilliant.com.
Shine bright, smile brilliant. And cock-a-doodle-doo to you. Hi, I'm Greg Gonzalez of the LA Meekly podcast.
Cluck, cluck of a day to you too. Hi, I'm Daniel Zaffron of the LA Meekly podcast. We're chickens.
We're chickens, and today, bird is the word.
Today, do call me chicken. Because
what's that, Biff? You didn't call me chicken? We're gonna drag race or whatever happens in the movie.
Yes, everybody calls me chicken. No, he drag races with Flea. How many times do we have to talk about who he drag races with? Like, how many episodes in a row do I have to get through to you that he drag races with Flea in episode 3? That's how you remember.
Is it episode 3, the Western Harley drag race?
Because there's a scene at the end before the train comes and flies away where they're like back and like everything's perfect and he drag races in his brand new car with Flea. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Back to the Future or fleas. We're here to talk about a different animal, chickens, because we're
specifically their heads,
and specifically a certain kind of chicken heads. We're getting Halloween started a little bit early, which is you got to start Halloween in September.
Yeah, we've learned that there's too much to do just for every week in October. In one month.
This month, our band is the Radioactive Chicken Heads. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about them after their first song because you're going to have questions. So we'll tell you more about them after their first song, which is going to be Tales from the Coop. So here is the Radioactive Chicken Heads with Tales from the Coop. See you in a little bit. Cluck-a-doodle-doo.
I'm going to go lay an egg. I'll be right back.
An evil genius of the fowl in the dead of night. When chickens get wicked and descend into flight, they sharpen their beaks and are ready to bite. The victims of chickens are stricken with fright. Here's a final warning, so be prepared. Proceed with caution if you dare to hear frightful stories of poultry spoons when you listen to Tales from the Coop. Tales from the, Tales from the, Tales from the, Tales from the Coop.
That was Tales from the Coop by the Radioactive Chicken Heads.
How fun, how spooky, how garagey. I really like them.
Yeah, the Radioactive Chicken Heads, they're really fun. You've heard already, they're a very fun band. I first saw them playing at the Doodah Parade. Like they were they were on one of the floats, just like a flatbed truck. It's generous to call those at the Doodah Parade floats. And it was the Radioactive Chicken Heads, which if you've never seen them, they're all dressed wearing, not dressed, these are them. They are radioactive chickens.
They are, yeah.
They're like giant. One has one eyeball. One has like an eyeball falling out of its socket, and just like crazy chickens, and then a carrot.
It makes sense to me. I don't know why you're acting like it doesn't. It makes perfect sense.
Why are you explaining it as if people wouldn't understand? It's a crazy sight to see the Radioactive Chicken Heads, and you ran into them recently just by chance.
Just by chance, we had come back from the Mission Tiki Drive-In, and I love Old Town Pomona, so we just got off. We're walking the dog, and we saw a venue,
which is a euphemism.
And I won't explain it to you
for yo-yoing.
We were walking around, and we passed a venue, and there was a younger crowd, and me and Ada were joking like, "Oh my god, like I'm the old man." So we did we'll walk down the block. We were coming back up, and I hear a band. I'm like, "This band's pretty good."
What are the Radioactive Chicken Heads in here?
And I peeked in. I'm like, and I saw what appeared to be chicken heads of a radioactive nature, and I got really excited. So I popped in. I took a couple pictures, and it was a lot of fun. And as I was leaving, they were covering Black Sabbath's Electric Funeral, which is one of my favorite songs. And I thought, yeah, this is a good band. I think that I might have seen them maybe 10 or 12 years ago at Safari Sam's.
What is that?
What
is that?
It was a venue on Hollywood or Sunset by the 99-cent store that is closed now, but it was pretty popular for a while. And they were playing, I think, with the Diffs and Fallopian, which is a couple bands that I was really wild about.
That gets us into their music. They've been like around for a while, and they were like in the punk scene, like, or they're still in the punk scene, but like they were
the fun punk, kind of punk
they're fun punk. They're not the punk I don't like but it also when I was listening to their music, and it reminds me of Talking Heads a lot. Like
I can see that.
Yeah, because there's a silly look. Let's pull back the curtain a little bit. Obviously, there's a silliness to the band,
right,
by its very nature. But it's it's a very unique thing. It's certainly right up the LA Meekly alley, which will be dedicated one day.
They're in the same league as the Misfits, which is like a fun band that likes to do like horror tropes and sort of like a punk garage thing.
They're pretty mysterious, but I am a relentless investigator, Greg. So I managed to get a few answers out of the Chicken Heads. So straight from the beaks of the monsters. A little bit about them. The Radioactive Chicken Heads were created by Dr. Baron von Kluckenstein in his secret laboratory. We are the subjects of his experiments in the production of genetically modified frankenfoods. We got fed up with being cooped all day and night in the lab, so we plotted to escape and pose as a band on the road. That's their backstory. This is their origin story.
It feels like you're reading the lyrics of Monster Mash.
Hang on, there's a little bit more. He was working in his lab late one night.
This just in.
Hang on, I'm getting news from my producer. They're going to whisper this into the president's ear during a press conference. Nobody's doing my Transylvania twist?
Sir, it's a mash.
What kind of mash? I asked them about why they make the music that they do, and they said, we figured if we were to become a band, we'd need to make our own music. As musically untrained mutant chickens and vegetables, this is all we can do. And as for how LA has influenced them, our biggest musical influences are the LA punk bands of the 70s and 80s, and the Dr. Demento show, which was based in Los Angeles, which I didn't realize that, but it makes sense because that also spawned Weird Al, who's from Los Angeles, so it makes a lot of sense.
That is a perfect... Go ahead.
No, I wonder if Weird Al and the Radioactive... I mean, obviously they have a lot in common. I wonder if there's a...
You wonder if you take the head off of one of the chickens, if it's Weird Al underneath? Is that what you're asking? Because it feels like that's what you're getting to, but you're too scared because you're realizing how dumb that is as it's coming out. You're realizing like that wouldn't work.
I want to have a Scooby-Doo moment with the radioactive chicken heads. It's like Weird Al, the Sloppy Boys, and
Spike Jones. And the last one's just like an accordion.
It's an actual chicken.
That fits in perfectly. Like Dr. Demento plus like the 70s punk bands that I could think of that were a little bit like the Screamers and
when you do the math on it, like that's what the radioactive chicken heads are, what comes out of that equation. But they're a lot of fun, and because I saw them at the Doodah Parade as the lore
as one does.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, these are really fun. And I like started following them on social media, and they started following us. And I was like, this is really exciting.
This is blowing up.
And then I saw we were on a Zoom call with some people, and he was wearing what I could barely see, but like there was a logo on his shirt. And I was like, is that a Radioactive Chicken Head shirt? And he's like, yeah, I saw them live. And it's like a secret code to know the radio. And you were saying that they're at the, not UTI. What is that band called? CIA.
I think they were at CIA a lot. I was always trying to find a reason to go to CIA, and they were always like, it seemed like they were always playing like they were the resident band at CIA, but I don't know if that's true.
That makes perfect. Like I could see a giant radioactive chicken head in front of that place with the doll head that's missing an eye or whatever
kooky stuff they have going on there, which I never found out because I never had a reason to go. I had no one to go with. Daniel, who doesn't like punk venues.
Look, I've been to a punk show. I saw X at the Hollywood racetrack, so let's just say I'm pretty punk.
After I illegally gambled for the first time.
I know, I won like $5 and it was the greatest day of my life.
And you wouldn't stop talking about it.
I started like putting my arm around old men with cigars, like, yeah, this one's a slopper. You wanna put some money on her.
Oh yeah, that one's definitely gonna be glue in an hour. Oh yeah. That one's dog food for sure.
You want me to take her out back?
I got the money to afford it.
I've got $5. That's enough to kill a horse. They've toured the Radioactive Chicken Heads. They've toured the U.S., Canada, Mexico, and Peru. They've released 4 full-length albums such as Growing Mold and Poultry Uprising. They've made their own video game, and they also had a TV pilot, which I would have loved to have watched that show.
Yeah. Where's that?
It was on what was that station that was like, it was like NBC, CBS, and like a third one that's now defunct. It's that reference.
Is it Fox?
Yeah, it's Fox. It was I Love Lucy, Andy Griffith Show, and Family Guy were all on at the same time in the 50s. So you can find the band at radioactivechickenheads.com to buy their albums and see their upcoming dates and buy their merch also, which is really fun. You could show it off to your friends on Zoom. Yeah. Or you could search Radioactive Chicken Heads on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud, or anywhere really. And you should, because their music is really good and they're a really fun band based on a crazy, silly concept. And that is, like I said, that is the essence of this show. So it's really a great band for people who are into us. You're going to like this. Yeah. And as with all the bands and musicians we've had so far, they've been so nice and helpful to us, which automatically you should buy one album at least just from that, because it takes a lot to be nice to us.
As we've learned through 8 years, it takes a lot to just show general generosity.
Yeah, it was so like they were, because I think I was talking with the Carrot. I think it was the Carrot I was talking to. And he's like, do you want this? Do you want us to do this? So he's been very generous with his time in helping us out with this. And as for us, you can catch our regular monthly show where we talk about Los Angeles history right here where you're listening to us, or you could follow us on Instagram at LA_Meekly, Twitter at LA Meekly, YouTube. Support us on Patreon if you want for as little as $5 a month. We will send you a handwritten postcard from Los Angeles. Or for less, you could just keep the lights on. We are so independent. We don't have any albums out to sell. Yeah.
So very independent. You can also check us out at LAMeeklyPodcast.com now. Our website is up, so go ahead and check that out.
Yeah. So, now that's all we really have to say, but we've got another song for you. So to take us out and put you right back in that Halloween mood, we'll see you October 1st after this episode. So enjoy another song by the Radioactive Chicken Heads. This is Cluck at the Moon. Happy almost Halloween, everybody.
Happy pre-Halloween.
Happy Halloween in September, everybody.
Happy hot Halloween.
I'm feeling hot Halloween. So enjoy Cluck at the Moon by the Radioactive Chicken Heads.